So we started off by, number one, building a website that was optimized for the user to be able to find what they were looking for. Conversion optimization. Right now, our conversion on the website's running at about 7%, which is pretty high for a hotel website.
All right, Shane, Stanford Hotels. We had a brief exchange the other day on, I believe it was Max Starkov's post about independents and OTAs, and maybe independents are behind with their use of technology and digital marketing, revenue management, CRM. He had a big list, and you had spoke up and said, "Well, wait a minute, we've been doing pretty good." And going up against the OTAs in particular, you've been doing well. So I thought we would chat and we would talk about what you've managed to do, post pandemic. And so, before we kind of get into what you've been doing, why don't you explain the problem you set out to solve?
Sure. So thanks for having me, by the way. I think we were opening a hotel post-pandemic in a market that was still struggling, right? San Francisco, still not even close to 2019 numbers in demand. And we were in a new area of San Francisco that really hadn't had a lot of exposure. So initially, we thought we were going to have to open with everything, all the discounts on OTAs, all of the different channels open, doing whatever we could to be able to get business in there. And we honestly, truthfully expected to have 60% OTA business in the hotel when we started, just because of the nature of what it was. But our goal was always to keep it low. So as we did this and we were building off of a sister property that had launched in Times Square, we really started thinking about what do we need to have in place so that we are doing everything we can to keep the business direct. Direct is clearly the most profitable way to get business. It's also the way you keep the customer and build that relationship and keep that going. And in the case of New York, we'd experienced a lot of return customers, but it was always through the OTAs, largely because it was a European customer. On the West Coast, it's been very different. Asia hasn't started traveling much yet, so it's still pretty predominantly U.S. traffic that's coming through. And so we started off by, number one, building a website that was optimized for the user to be able to find what they were looking for. Conversion optimization. Right now, our conversion on the website's running at about 7%, which is pretty high for a hotel website on the conversion side of things. We have a CRM built in through Revinate, and I'm using that for our confirmations, pre-arrival emails, and different marketing tools. A little bit of drip marketing, but that really hasn't come into play yet. We don't have a big enough marketing pool for that. We did do a lot of GDS advertising, and we are doing OTA advertising. We do believe in that. There's still a piece of our strategy has to do with finding people in different markets and trying to get them to come to us. So we do have a lot of OTA win-back campaigns and efforts that we do as well. So we figured that the direct effort was going to be where we spent most of our time and process. And so we did a lot to get the community on board and figure that out, and a lot of dedicated marketing. But the property team really helped do a lot of that. We from a corporate level, we gave them direction, we helped them with the tools, but they were the ones that really came out saying, we don't want to be an OTA heavy hotel. We really want to be focused on getting direct, and they've done it.
So talk to us a little bit about the marketing. Are you doing the marketing yourself? Are you using an agency? And what does that look like?
So we have a marketing team internally for Stanford Hotels that helps with that. We do use an outside PR agency, and they were doing social, but we just brought social in-house from that side of things. So, but the majority of everything is done in-house from our marketing team.
What's social look like? Are you getting good traction there?
Yeah, social looks good. We do a decent amount of organic, a lot of video. We haven't gotten to TikTok yet. I think that's probably next year if we do that. And the hotel definitely has a lot of visual opportunity, right? There's a lot of art in it, a lot of big art pieces. From when you first arrive now, there's a nice outdoor sculpture that's bright and cheery. There's a great Jim Campbell art piece that's over in the what we call the community area, that literally if you watch it while you're on your back, you can watch a person climb up a waterfall, but it's a whole bunch of lights. Jim Campbell's also the artist that did the top of the Salesforce Tower, so a lot of light artwork. But there's a lot of visual beauty in the hotel, and it's always been meant to be a community gathering place. So the coffee lounge and the wine bar, and then they've got a rooftop bar up above. The rooms are all very tech forward. A lot of streaming is built into them. A lot of ports for your USB plugs and everything. But very modern, clean. The flooring is done from recyclable materials, and so it feels sort of soft and spongy. But it's a great feel. People really like it when they're in the rooms.
So, describe your tech stack for us.
Yeah, so technology for us starts. We use Synxis as the booking engine, but we actually built our website through Verb Interactive, and they have a I don't know how to describe it, but a platform that sits on top of Synxis called Dolly that allows us to build a customizable interface to the Synxis booking engine that basically makes it so people don't have to leave our website to go to a book a reservation on another site, which is pretty traditional as an independent hotel, right? Your URL changes when you go from the hotel to the booking engine. We don't do that. We're able to keep people on site that way. We also use, I think I mentioned this before, Revinate as our CRM platform in terms of being able to reach out to customers who are staying with us. So their reservation confirmations go through there, cancellations, pre-arrivals, all of that information goes through there. And we also use Revinate for reputation management and comparing ourselves to the market. And this hotel last year was chosen as this year's hottest new hotel in the USA was Luma, New York. So they've done a good job sort of getting that out there. And then on the other side of that, we use we do a lot of stuff internally, not necessarily a lot of outside tools. We use SEMrush for doing a lot of our data analysis on the SEM side of things. And then we just go straight to Google for ads and Meta for the ads as well. We don't use any outside platforms for that. It's all in-house, but we have people that are managing that process for us.
So what is the you were telling me before we started recording the OTA to direct split. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so the OTA to direct split for this hotel is running up in the high 30% right now. It does vary back and forth depending on leisure demand and group business and mix. But honestly, we've been surprised that we haven't seen higher OTA mix. Very happy about that. But we've done a lot to sort of hope to reduce that. But we also still do advertise. We use travel ads on Expedia. And so we're getting our fair share, but we're not overdoing it. We're not pushing it like a lot of hotels in the market are going too deep in the OTA side of things. I think part of it helps that we're in a neighborhood that's relatively new. So the customers that are coming there tend not to be the ones that are just looking for the normal beaten path, right? They're looking for more specific location driven places, and they don't want to be in the normal touristy areas of San Francisco. So I think that's definitely helped us.
So what do you think makes you different than a lot of the independent hotels, like Max was saying, are really behind in achieving what you've been able to achieve?
Well, I think one of the things we started at the beginning of this year was a book direct campaign. So when people book direct on our website, they get a credit to use in our Twine, which is our coffee bar. At the time, it was also in Bodega, which is our gift shop, but then now it's Twine in Trevino, which is the wine bar on the ground floor. So they get that credit as a book direct. So, you get whatever you book your rate, and then you get that extra credit on top of that. And we're really trying to do everything we can to keep that business inside and not use the OTAs to do it. We've also pushed the OTAs though and tried to do as much as we can to leverage them. In the case of like our primary image on Expedia, it says it has the logo for TripAdvisor's hottest new hotel on it, and we're really trying to push people direct. We also don't have any urban fees or any type of extra destination fees, and that certainly helps that process when there's a lot of that happening in the market. We promote that a lot on our site as well as in the other channels. I think also it helps with parity. We really push the parity issue to make sure that OTAs, we're in parity with any place on the OTAs, and they are with us. And I didn't mention our tech stack, but we use Triptease for doing rate shops and meta search. And one of the things that Triptease does is it alerts us when OTAs are undercutting us and we're out of parity. So that we're able to monitor that out of parity issue a lot and make sure that we're addressing that with our OTA partners and not having an issue. So I think a lot of that just means the business comes back to us. We don't have the issue of it going other places.
Yeah, and your booking experience sounds pretty slick between the booking engine and Triptease, and it sounds nice.
Yeah, it's nice for the customer. Right? There's this nice flow, and I have to say, I mean, I've been in the industry for over 20 years. One of the biggest challenges I always had with independence in prior life was that exchange that happens when that handover from the website to the booking engine. A couple things happen there. Number one, you're worried that you're losing tracking, right? Because a lot of times there would be a break, the code would go wrong and you would start losing tracking, or you double count traffic. But people never like that change of URL. There's always that question, am I really going to the right place, or am I being redirected to a bad place? And so I think that nice smooth process helps. There's that confidence that they're booking in the right place.
So as we wrap up, as an independent hotel organization, you've got a lot going on. And so talk to us quickly about the collaboration that must be going on between the different departments.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have weekly revenue meetings that marketing is on, that revenue is on, that sales is on, and we do regular financial calls where we're talking about what's happening, and there's a lot of eyes on it, right? So even if one person misses it, someone else is going to catch it, and then we also are always looking for new innovative ways to do things. We're never happy with just the old-fashioned way, and so it helps that the focus is there. Also, it also helps the ownership is really focused on trying to keep business direct as well. So we've done a few things with sponsorships. We're we're a hotel sponsor for the San Francisco Giants, and we're working on a sponsorship right now for the Warriors. I mean, we're the closest hotels to both of those locations right now, and that helps. But really, just having a lot of eyes on the ball and paying attention. We have a dedicated marketing manager at the hotel who's always working through the projects, but the whole team is focused on this hotel from top to bottom.
So it's two hotels.
Yeah, we have a Luma in Times Square. That's right between Bryant Park and Times Square. It's a smaller hotel. It's only 160 rooms. And then this hotel is 299. It's in San Francisco in Mission Bay area.
So the whole collaboration team, revenue, marketing, like how many people are we talking about? Ballpark.
You're talking about probably 8 people total. Okay. that are regularly participating in those calls. And really, we have dedicated people on our corporate team that focus on OTAs, and we have one person who focuses on just on the SEO side of things and the keywords and working the back end of it to optimize that. And then one person that's focused on messaging just alone. So it really does matter when you have the right focus, right? People with their expertise working across all of it and making sure we're all dialed in.
Yeah. Well, that sounds exciting, Shane. I mean, I appreciate you spending time with me and kind of pulling back the curtain and let us know what's going on and how you're able to achieve these results. I think it's going to be beneficial for folks. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
You bet.